I'm Jan from Cliffhanger, and usually Jan from Black 13 sits here, but since we've got the same name, we sort of changed that. The reason I'm here is we're talking about VR again. We're at Crytek, and we will talk about the future of VR with these nice people.
Hello, I'm Rolf Neises from Black Forest Games.
I'm David Bowman from Crytek.
I'm Adrian from Black Forest Games.
Okay, so all of them are very, very good in doing VR to different degrees, as we already heard probably. I don't have a clue about that, and my question first of all is, what is so different about it in terms of why do you think this is revolutionizing entertainment? Because we had that, I heard that when we had a 3D films and then the 3D TV, everybody was like, this is changing things. And it changes a lot of things from the perspective of people who actually make them. Mm-hmm. Does it really make for a hugely better experience in cinema? Nah, it's nice once or twice, but then you go like, yeah, but it's really mostly then back to being about the film.
They were gimmicks. This was an effort to push something on the audience. The audience didn't ask for it, right? But we were just speaking about the fact that some of us grew up with the idea that there's a holodeck. And whenever somebody thinks about virtual reality, they get interested in it. Like, oh, if that were only true. If that were true, if it were possible, that would be cool, right? As opposed to 3D coming out of a screen at you. This is being in a space and being surrounded by it. And it's real. We're finally doing it. We're finally doing it to a point where it feels good. And it is affordable to the early adopter pricing now, right? So it's going to be within that commercial early adopter reach. So that's all coming together right now. And I can finally do things that I wanted to. I've been making games almost 20 years. I want to make certain games, and there's things I cannot do because the technology doesn't let me. I can finally do some of those. I can't do them all, but I can do some of the things I've never been able to do before. The moment I can turn my head and feel my head move and my view responds exactly, it starts to make it feel interesting because now I can look behind that tree, I can look underneath the desk, I can start to do things, explore my environment. In passive games which are flat and 2D, you get to explore in a second sense. You're out there and you're viewing what happens, and you always know you're viewing what's happening. And it's like watching a movie, but you kind of control it.
You also are limited with your controls.
And you're limited in the controls.
And your view.
And this is so natural. So when I move my head, I move my head. Mm-hmm. Oh, got it.
Yes.
And it does change some things, though. Camera control. Like when you make a game, every game I've made before, I've controlled the camera. Mm-hmm. Now I'm giving it to the camera. I'm saying, here, user, here's your camera. You are it. And all of a sudden, I have to change the way I make games entirely.
So I see two reasons for me personally why VR is the future. One is in games. Games is about immersion. And there is no higher degree than immersion with VR. We have movies. Movies is about an experience, about seeing something. There's a lot of art in movies. You have black and white stuff which is still done because that's kind of the experience. But games about immersion. And VR is the highest level of immersion we currently can get. And the second reason is just when I put on the first Oculus SDK I could get hold of, it was just clear that's it.
It's really emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, from a developer point of view.
In addition, as Adrian said, movies are linear and games are dynamic. You can change the situation by yourself. So I think I agree with Adrian. It's another step of game developing, and not also developing, playing it.
Playing it from the consumer point of view. I've done well over 1,200 personal demonstrations. Put the headset on that person and had them see our 2 Dinosaur Island demonstrations, and I watched them get excited in a way that I haven't seen since the early days of games. Right? They pull this off. Well, I mean, even when they still have it on, they're going. They say 3 words. They say, "Wow, awesome, amazing." You hear that over and over and over again, and then you usually get a 4th word depending on what language it is. Like in Japanese, "sugoi." Right? They're just they didn't know we could do that, and so from a consumer point of view, we're going to shock people because those 1,200 people I've shown so far they're ready to buy. They're ready to. This is real. Not one of them went away and said, "Oh, this is phony," or "This is something I'm not interested in." All they were like, "Okay, now, but what can I do with it?" Now that's up to you and you and me. I mean, we're going to have to figure out what we can do with this to entertain people.
It's funny that you say shocked, because I'm always thinking about this famous episode when they showed the first movie with the train coming in the rail station. People were shocked. They're running.
They were shocked,
and that's where we are again.
The Back to Dinosaur Island 2 demo has you up on a cliff, and you're going up on a zip line, and people who are afraid of heights feel it in their stomach. They feel it viscerally. It's not a discomfort because of something wrong with the heads or like that. They look, oh no, wait, I'm really up high, and their hands are tight on the controller, and they're really there. In the first demo we have a T-Rex come right up close to people, and people they move back and they cower. We had one woman who I had to reassure her it was okay, it wasn't real, because she was just so there. Yeah.
There's also a funny situation with our prototype we are developing. Some of the designer put on his Oculus Rift and want to see the touch panel on the mesh. So instead looking to it, he goes, do this, and hit the desk with the Oculus. So this was a funny situation.
You're so used to it. It feels so real.
Yeah.
And it feels real to developers and the consumers.
But there's still this one concern, I think that's raised a lot, and is the tech perfect enough to provide this experience? Or are we ending up at 90% and the remaining 10%, which is not good enough, will stop VR from being a success?
I think this is an early adopter generation. Right? In 2016, you'll have people who are interested in technology, interested in the new, willing to spend entertainment level purchases. These are going to cost in the same ballpark as the consoles did. Right? They're going to be in about that same price point. So those people are going to try this, and they're going to be rewarded because they're going to have content and experiences which they've never been able to have before, and they can share with their friends and to get them excited. So that'll all be self-reinforcing. So I think that'll drive 2016. 2017, we'll start seeing the second generation of content come out, where we play to all the strengths that we learned, because we're still all learning, right? We're learning all these lessons. So by 2017, you're also going to start to see the second generations of hardware start to, like there's a race going on, right? Everybody wants to be the winner in this race. We're supporting all the hardware we can because we don't know who the winner is going to be. We think there's going to be more than one, but they're in a race. Yeah. So you'll get more power out of the PCs, more power out of the headsets themselves, more visual quality, fidelity, and as it all comes together, we'll be solving those problems. But I think we've reached the snowball point where the snowball's gone off the hill and it's starting to pick up speed and size. And I don't think it'll stop at 90%. I think we'll blow right through it. And I think we'll get to the holodeck-like experience within maybe not my lifespan because I'm older than you guys, but in his lifespan, I think we'll see it.
But what's and coming back to sort of the less Star Trek-y real-time, present time. A lot of people are talking about that being a mass market thing. Yeah. In the same way the Wii revolution sort of went mass market. But there's a couple of lessons learned there as well, I think. In the Wii, you see that people buy the Wii, they have Wii Sports, and then they buy one other game because that's more than enough for them, because this is a casual audience. Right. They care about being able to move, they have fun doing that. The immersion level, and I completely believe that it's there, is obviously interesting for a specific kind of game as well. It's the amount of immersion that you want in playing Bejeweled or Candy Crush. Sure. It doesn't really profit much from VR, at least not that anybody has shown me. I see it's the same thing that people say, hey, you've got these touch gloves and you can move things around. It's a nice thing, but it doesn't really make the game better. That's
not it. No, we are going to create episodes of experience. I'll call them episodes rather than games or experiences, right? There's this whole spectrum from very passive things to really totally interactive. You're going to have them, and every level is going to be affected because there's little things and great things that you can do in VR you can't do with the other media. This is a new medium.
So it would be more like, because my understanding is that the mass market audience, this is more like films for them. It's an entertainment experience, indeed, and it's a little interactive, but to make it accessible, you minimize the amount of input required by the player, because this is what casual games do. They minimize the amount of input.
Right. There's a spectrum on this, and VR spectrum for this medium is going to be filled very, very quickly by a lot. There's $1 billion of investment this year alone.
Yeah.
So this is going to be filled, and it's going to be great, and I'm really, really excited by it. And we're going to be one of those parts of that spectrum, and I'm hoping everybody else is going to be part of that spectrum as well.
Give us some time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be fantastic.
Okay, so the future of VR, basically, apart from revolutionizing entertainment, is making film producers more than game producers, all of us, because we're having thinking in a different way.
It's a new media.
It is a new media in that sense.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a nice point to end this. Thanks for listening. As always, comment section below. Please give us feedback. Tell us what you need to know, what you want to know, and if you're really nice, maybe we can get back with you and the other guys here sometime again and talk about what's happening, I don't know, next year, so we can look back and see if all our predictions came true.
That'd be great.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. See you.